What's going on, guys? So today we're going to be doing kind of a weird thing. I don't have a lot of videos on my channel yet, but I don't want people to expect this on the regular because I'm not a huge comic book reader. I've read some Star Wars comics. I've read some Jonah Hex ones and some Batman ones and a couple Nightwing ones I got a few months ago. But on the whole, I've not actually read that many comic books. They're really cool. I should read more, but it's a really hard thing to get into. But anyway, today I'm going to be talking about and kind of doing a Persuado off-the-cuff reading of this comic, which is called Old Wounds. It's by a guy named Aaron McBride. It takes place in 16 BBY, and this is actually where the creators for Clone Wars and Rebels, you can see it, you'll see it very clearly later when we actually get into the panels and stuff like that. This is where they got the idea of the cyborg Maul. In Clone Wars, you see that they look a lot alike. They obviously took pretty much the exact design for his legs from this comic book and put it in Clone Wars. And then later in Rebels, they took the idea of him going to Tatooine after Obi-Wan, and then kind of retooled it and reworked it in a way so that it was appealing in the way that it fit the Rebels story. But anyway, they obviously took those ideas from this comic, so I thought I'd show people, kind of how it originally happened. But this was written, well before Star Wars The Clone Wars came out, so you have to take in mind this is not canon, this is not the exact same story, it's a different story, it's a different version of a different story that happened, but it's the same events, it just happened in a different way. So anyway, without further ado, we'll kind of get into it. So this is kind of the opening. You can see this Darth Maul looks a lot like, if you haven't seen it already, he looks like, he looks pretty much like the one from the Clone Wars. So on this first panel here, we've got Tatooine, the Outer Rim, third year of the Imperial occupation. Now, in this scene, we kind of see Lars. He's kind of teaching Luke, maybe how to say the word vaporator. It's kind of a evaporator. It's kind of a cute family moment. He's telling him about the twin sons and how it's time to go to bed. In the next scene, however, we see a mysterious, shadowy figure running in from the plains. He alerts Beru and tells her to take Luke inside. He tells her it's probably not a Tusken Raider because it's traveling alone, because they typically travel in groups. Because that's how you get tough in the sand dunes, I guess. They the sand gang for life or something like that. So we see him try to fire off a shot. But that does not really go all that well for him, as you can kind of see, pretty much, or whoever the shadowy figure is, pretty readily disarms it. It wasn't very difficult thing for him to do. He pretty much disarmed it with absolutely no effort put in at all. He pretty much takes out Owen immediately. He then proclaims that there is a sun and that he knows somebody's hiding there because he senses a heartbeat. But who could be hiding? He found the three people there. He found the two Larses and he found Luke. So who could be hiding around the corner? I missed you on Camino by 2 days. I was a day behind you on Geonosis. I came across a corpse on Mustafar. I thought it might have been you. Imagine my relief. Those mute runts on Polis Massa were the least satisfying lives I've ever taken. My voice acting is very bad. I'm not a voice actor. But, and then you can see Watto kind of dead in the right-hand corner. So this is kind of a cool thing. So in this version of events, he's actually been hunting Obi-Wan for this entire time, this shadowy figure. He's actually been hunting Obi-Wan this entire time, and he was actually hunting him pretty much throughout the Clone Wars, because if he found him on Camino, and then Geonosis, and then Mustafar, and now he's finally caught up to him by the time this rolled around. So in this particular situation, we see a voice, a mysterious voice. Wonder who it could be. Does Palpatine know? And Maul, or this shadowy figure, informs him that there is no Palpatine, there's no Empire, there's no Jedi, no light, no dark, just you and I, here, now. So I think this is actually what people wanted in the episode of Rebels that we wound up getting. This is what people were expecting from Rebels, is what you're about to see in this comic. We can do this for old time's sake, but I was a Padawan then. So he tells him he's not going to heal clean, and then he bursts from the sand. Why Obi-Wan is under the sand, I'm not really sure what he was doing under there. Maybe he just hangs out under the sand outside of the Lars' house all day. We really don't know what Obi-Wan has spent his time doing on Tatooine all those years. Maybe they just don't want him loitering, so he just like hides under the sand or something. We don't really know. So we see Maul take off his coat, and it is in fact Darth Maul. We get a nice image of him there, and the battle begins. Maul gives dialogue about how he was, he fell far from what he was, but he wound up greater at the end of the day. And now we get into the next panel, which is a cool fight scene between them. We see them kind of clashing blades, lightsabers all over the place. That one of their faces in the middle looks amazing. We see Obi-Wan get a punch in, knocking some horns off. We see one of Maul with the injury. We see Owen and Lars and Brew trying to help him recover in the bottom left-hand corner of the panel. Now on this next one, this one's also really cool. Top left, we see Obi-Wan slicing not just through the lightsaber, but also cutting off one of Maul's arms. Saw the lightsaber fall to the ground, and Maul scream in pain as he recovers pretty quickly and does a pretty badass looking kick to Obi-Wan's midriff with his mechanical legs. Obi-Wan slams right into that speeder, and Maul looks like he's pretty much ready to go again. However, we see that Obi-Wan is not playing around. He's got the lightsaber up against Maul's head. Maul is not in a position to be fighting at this point, and we see in that red kind of a flashback. He sees Qui-Gon, he sees Padme, he sees anger, all of these things that have happened. We see Maul's face, the igniter button pressed up against his head. We see Obi-Wan is not fucking around. He's ready for this shit. Boom. But he does not get the chance. We don't know if Obi-Wan in this comic version of Obi-Wan would have ever actually killed Maul or not, because blam, we see Owen pull the trigger and we see Maul laying dead as a fucking doornail on the ground. My apologies for the cursing, but it's pretty cool when you think about it. So I'll take him out to the Dune Sea and burn the body there. Owen tells him that's fine. And he basically tells Obi-Wan, don't come around here again. Don't come back. And that he will keep Luke safe from anyone, even if it's Obi-Wan. But Obi-Wan tells him he's always going to be there, even if you can't see him. Which I guess means he's going to go back to hiding under the sand. I would guess that's what that means, because it's a very convenient time for him to be hiding under the sand. So he must do that a lot. He must spend a lot of time down there. But anyway, that is the whole thing. That is Star Wars Old Wounds. Again, that is written by Aaron McBride. It takes place 16 BBY, so not that. So and that's before Battle of Yavin for anyone who's not familiar with that terminology. But so yeah, that's pretty cool. It's pretty fantastic little thing there. As you can see, they obviously took a lot from this. They took Maul's design to use in the Clone War, and then they took the concept of him having a battle with Obi-Wan on Tatooine for Rebels. So awesome shout outs there, McBride. He's amazing. I doubt he'll ever see this video, but awesome guy, awesome comic, really fun stuff. Obviously inspired a lot of canon things that came later, and yeah, like I'll have, if I can find his social media stuff, I'll put that in the description. So make sure you check that dude out, or any other works he works on. I don't know what else he's done besides Visionaries, which is a Star Wars comic line. I don't know if he does anything else. I don't know that much about comics in general. Like I said, I've really only read a few Star Wars ones, Jonah Hex, Batman, and some and a couple Nightwing ones, like random. But anyway, I thought this was a pretty cool thing, especially because of that episode of Rebels that just came out. So yeah, I hope people enjoyed the video. Probably wasn't the best reading of a comic book, but regardless of that, I still hope you enjoyed the video, and I still hope I'll see people in the next one.